because horses have four legs as opposed to us only having two, they can move in a lot of different ways than we can. A horse's movement is, they're called gaits, and there are four different types of gaits that they use to move. Walking, which is similar to what we do, horses do as well. They walk, but they use all 4 feet to walk. And if you think of the rhythm of our walk, it goes 1, 2, 1, 2. With a horse, it goes 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It goes in a rhythm, and they pick up every foot differently at a different time than the other. And a horse's walk is usually about 4 miles per hour. The next gait is called trot. Trot is a little bit faster. It's usually about 8 miles per hour is how fast the horse travels when he trots. And it is a 2-beat rhythm. He picks up opposite legs at the same time. So his right front leg and his left hind leg will pick up at the same time, and then they'll go down, and as soon as they land on the ground, his left front and his right hind will pick up, and it'll move in opposite directions, but in a 2-beat. So 1, 2, 1, 2, a little bit faster than a walk. The next fastest gait is called the canter. That is a 3-beat gait, and you can go between 10 to 17 miles per hour when you're cantering. And the interesting thing is 1 leg will be on the ground and 3 will be off the ground at a time. And that's why it's a 3-beat gait. So when you hear a horse canter, it makes a 3-beat sound. And the 4th and fastest gait that a horse has is called a gallop. This one might be a fun one to demo for you. Lewis is not the fastest, he's still learning how to gallop efficiently, but a gallop has, similar to a walk, it actually has 4 beats. And that is because when you're galloping, you're going at a faster speed and there's more chance for all 4 feet to be up in the air at the same time. So here's the gallop. Oh, and it can, fast horses, like race horses, they can go between 25 and 30 miles per hour. So those are your 4 gaits: walk, trot, canter, and gallop. They all have, horses do them all for different reasons. When a horse trots, that is their most efficient gait. They can trot for hours and hours. If they were a wild horse living in a herd of horses, they can trot for miles all day. The canter and gallop are not as efficient. They use a lot more energy for a horse, so those are for quicker periods of time. So a wild horse would canter or gallop to get away from a predator. Horses also use movement to communicate with other horses or the people that they are in contact with, or they even use their body movement as a way to be aware of their surroundings. So as you can see here, Lewis and I are on a walk in the woods, and his ears are pricked forward. He is aware of where we're going, but he is curious to see what is around. If there is something in the woods, like a bird that will fly from a tree, he will move his ears to the side to take in that noise and that movement. Horses also have eyes that are on either side of their head, which gives them a 350-degree view. The only thing they can't really see with their eyes is right what's on top of their back. So they can't see me, they can feel me, but they use their eyes also to take in their surroundings and are able to, if they're in the wilds, to protect themselves from predators. So horses' ears have 16 muscles in them, and that is what they use to show, there's a bug on me, to show if what they are aware of, what they're nervous of. If their ears are pricked forward, they're curious and happy. If they're off to the side, they're just listening to something that they hear that's not in front of them. If they pin their ears back, that means they're angry and they are trying to show dominance to usually another horse. And then if they're floppy and sort of droopy, that means they're just resting and really, really relaxed. There are 4 different reasons why a horse would decide to paw. This is called pawing. So right now, Lewis sees something on the other side of the fence that he wants, like grass or a handful of hay, and he is pawing to get the attention from one of us to give him the hay. Basically, he's begging. But for horses and the way that they use it to communicate, they can either beg, like what we just saw. Sometimes they paw when they are nervous or upset. So if they have a stomach ache and not feeling well, sometimes they show their discomfort by pawing. Sometimes they paw during mealtime when they expect it to be dinner or breakfast. They will paw because they're anticipating their tasty grain. And then sometimes they paw when they feel like they want to roll around on the ground. They test out the ground underneath them to see if it's a good roll spot. So that is another way horses communicate with humans and with their surrounding area. When a horse decides to take a nap, take a look at Lewis's position. His ears are a little bit floppy, his eyes are a little droopy, but they stay open most of the time. And if you can see through the fence, he's resting one of his back legs. Horses have a really neat mechanism in their hind legs. They have a kneecap way up high that locks into place. So he can rest one foot while the other foot is locked straight, and that makes it so when they're sleeping they don't fall over. So it looks like Lewis is ready for his afternoon nap. Now that you guys have seen all the different ways a horse moves and how they use their movement to communicate, it would be a good time to think about all the most important information that you learned from the video and write it down somewhere. I decided to write mine down because I'm making a research book on horses. I decided to write it down under my question, how do horses move? And I made an outline, so the most important pieces of all the different ways that horses move. So if this is something you'd like to do, feel free to think about what you thought the most important information was. And we will turn this into a book soon.